Good evening, everyone, and welcome to India Now with me, Avan Dabash. Well, it is earnings that are flashing on your screens. You just had Vedanta's Q3 numbers that came out a short while ago, and now it's Bharti Airtel as well that has declared its Q3 numbers. In fact, let's take cognizance of what exactly the telecom major has delivered. Well, you do have the company that has delivered a profit performance. And that has come in, as quite a surprise of 86.2 crore rupees vis-a-vis our expectations of a loss figure. We were expecting a net loss of 905 crore rupees. And what have they delivered by way of the revenue growth? That has come in at 20,519 crores. So that's a bit of a miss this time around. But I think the street is definitely going to take heart from the fact that it has been a profit number this time around. Africa ARPUs are at $3. You have the India ARPU that stands at 104 rupees, and that is, I think, a fairly decent number because we were expecting an ARPU of about 103. Naveen Kulkarni joins in to dissect the numbers for us. And Naveen, let's start off with that headline number. The street or ET now had anticipated a consolidated loss of 900 crores, and the company has managed to surpass those expectations and deliver a PAT performance of 86 crore rupees. What do you make of this?
See, I think there will be most likely some one-offs in the PAT number because if I were to look at the EBITDA number, that's not very different from what the street was expecting. So EBITDA number for the street was around 6250 crores. They delivered 6300 odd crores. That's plus minus 50 crores. So that would not have produced such a huge swing. So most likely there is some bit of a write back or some one-off in the numbers, which has resulted in the profit number. But if I were to look at the revenue numbers, that's a little encouraging because we see some bit of growth on a sequential basis. So that is, I think, slightly heartening. But we'll have to go into the details in terms of how the ARPU has panned out, the usage in terms of data or the capex and depreciation numbers. So there are lots of numbers which have to be analyzed for Bharti before coming to a fair conclusion on how the operating performance has been.
So I'm just going to run you through whatever numbers I have with me at hand. The consolidated mobile data and voice traffic has grown 183% and 40% respectively on here. The Africa net revenues grew 12%. The overall customers across 16 countries stand at nearly 404 million. In terms of the ARPU number for okay, just going to dig that up one moment. Yeah, the India ARPUs are up 4% sequentially at 104. Break down this data. Is that encouraging? Because you said otherwise that it might just be, a one-off in this quarter and you wouldn't read too much into the kind of performance that they have delivered because barring that PAT number, it's in line.
Yeah, so barring the PAT number, I would believe the EBITDA numbers are in line, but the ARPU number is definitely encouraging. So last quarter they did an ARPU of 101, so there is a sequential improvement that we are seeing in this quarter, considering they have made some changes to their plans. And most likely we should see this improvement in ARPU continuing in the next quarter also. Right. So I believe the exit ARPU for this quarter should be higher than 104 rupees because 104 rupees is the average ARPU for the Indian business. So the exit ARPU should be higher. The exit run rate in terms of revenues for the domestic business should also be higher. So overall, I would say that there has been some bit of improvement in the operating performance on a sequential basis. So that is encouraging. But we will have to look at the other factors, which is the interest cost and the capex expenses the company has incurred during this quarter, and the kind of growth which has come in at what kind of capex has resulted in these kind of numbers. So those are factors will also need to be focused on. But I would say at this point in time, the numbers are kind of in line. Operational performance looks a little encouraging.
Just some commentary from the management as well. Gopal Vittal says that effective this quarter, they have modified their customer base measurement to represent only transferring and revenue generating customer. The mobile data volume is continuing to expand, that they've simplified their product portfolio and their premium content, and that really has played out well, translating into the highest ever 4G customer additions of 11 million plus. You have Raghunath Mandav, the MD and CEO of Africa, who's talking about ahead there. The margins have expanded and they're continuing to invest in strong LTE networks to enhance their customer experience as well. What is it that you believe are still the niggling problems for Bharti Airtel after the fact that we have seen this major competition emerge in the sector, the balance sheet crunch, the fact that they've been struggling with ARPUs, with subscriber additions? What do you believe still are the niggling problems for the company?
See, one of the major problems which still is going to be a challenge that Bharti will have to address is the 4G subscriber base and the smartphone user base that the company has. Right now, the industry leader for smartphone users is Reliance Jio. So some bit of catch-up has to happen because that's what is going to tilt the ARPU numbers, right? So higher the smartphone user base, the higher will be the ARPU for a telecom operator in India. So that problem has to be addressed, whether it can be addressed through a bundled offer or whether there are some other plans to upgrade the consumer remains to be seen. And that's one aspect. Second aspect is which is about the pricing. Pricing in the industry is still very, very low. At this level of pricing, making any kind of return on the capital employed is going to be challenging for a fairly long period. So pricing for the industry has to go up. So these are a couple of factors which I think have to be addressed. One is probably a company-specific problem is in terms of smartphone user base, and second is the generic problem with the industry of low tariffs, which is resulting in low return ratios for the industry.
Right, Naveen, let you go. Thanks much for taking time out and joining in, talking about Bharti Airtel.